So first is just going to be the formality. If you would, very please, very kindly, my mouth today. Haven't had coffee yet. State your first and last name, where you work would be here, and that you're okay with me interviewing you and filming you for my documentary.
My name is Russ Johnson. I'm the president of the Phoenix Herpetological Society, and we're more than happy to participate in this interview.
Awesome. How long have you personally been into reptiles?
Probably about 42 years.
Wow. What was your? Do you remember what your first reptile was?
Absolutely. I had a king snake. I caught a king snake when I was very little, and brought it home, and my dad helped me make a cage for it.
Awesome. When did you start working for the Phoenix Herpetological Society?
Dan and I and Debbie are the original founders of the nonprofit Phoenix Herpetological Society. It's a sanctuary and an educational facility.
What is the main purpose of it?
The main purpose is one, it's twofold. One of the education and the conservation role that reptiles actually play in our ecology, and second of all, we're hoping to get people to be responsible pet owners.
What would you say is the number one, I don't want to say error, but husbandry issue that you find with...
Well, the number one thing that we find problems is people do a lot of impulse buying. They buy that cute little baby boa or a python or a small tortoise and don't research on how long it's going to live, what it's going to take to take care of it. And then also the biggest problem is they all of a sudden they realize, hey, this is a big financial commitment. I mean, a snake can live 30 years, a tortoise will live 100 years. Children getting these things, parents allowing us to do this, and then mom and dad don't want to take care of it. So we get a lot of animals turned into us because we're like the Humane Society. They're dropped off because I can no longer take care of it, or it's intimidating me, or it's gotten too big or too costly. Those are the things that we find out with there. We get hundreds of animals a year turned into our facility because we're a no-kill facility.
Wow. I also heard that you guys are helping repopulate alligators, was it?
We're doing a crocodile. We
Sorry.
have a CBW, which is a captive bred wildlife permit from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services. And so we're participating in generating babies of endangered crocodiles. We don't know if any of them are going to end up in the wild. Possibly the Philippines that we're working with may go back to the Philippine Islands, but a lot of them are going to be basically in zoos or educational facilities because there's getting fewer and fewer of these, and some of these animals, like the Chinese alligator, are on the brink of extinction and probably be extinct in the wild before I'm gone.
What's so important about saving them, and how did they become almost extinct at this point?
Well, you know, the crocodilians, you know, you're looking at an actual dinosaur. They haven't changed much in their shape in the last 100 and some odd million years, so because they've become very successful. So, you know, you're losing not only part of our ecology, you're using part of our history, you know, the evolutionary history, things like this. You know, people would say, you know, why is this a big deal? Well, if it was Bambi, they'd be throwing up in arms and all about this. So it's a reptile, and you're looking at an evolutionary link that we're on the verge of losing on a number of species. The number one cause that we find out, like on the Chinese, is polluted water. So their prey items are dying, they're dying, and their eggs are infertile or thin shells, and they're not hatching. The other ones, it's mostly habitat destruction or poaching for skins on the crocodilians.
That's still a thing?
Yeah, that's still a big thing, and you got to remember, you know, a lot of these third world nations, you know, that's only a source of income for them. So, you know, they sell these hides cheaply, and these guys profiteer from it, and then they still, you know, in Europe and various places, they still tan the hides. Right.
Last question. I just had it too. It was on the tip of my tongue. So there's been one snake ban so far that banned 4 large species of snakes. Do you think any up-and-coming bans will impact you guys in what you do in your education, or financially, or?
Well, financially, it's not a situation affecting us. The ones that were banned are the yellow anaconda, the Burmese python, the rock python, and I'm trying to remember, there's one other one, and those are some of the pet trade items. So that affected the pet trade situation. There's probably going to be some other large ones. There's going to be some other...
So please move your car to the top of the parking lot. Please do it now before your show starts.
Do I have to move the Batmobile?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, so what they're going to do is they've impacted the pet trade, people that ban these. But some of these snakes, a rock python makes a really lousy pet. Yellow anaconda makes a really lousy pet. You get one of those, you should get a year's supply of Band-Aids and mercurochrome. There is an agenda. It's definitely not in the herp world. They're definitely fighting it. So, there'll probably be some other the large boids that are banned. And I think that's an emotional thing. And the government is acquiescing to various animal rights activists that, sometimes have a point and many times do not. They have their own agenda. So, we can always get them because we have a zoo permit and we have federal permits, so we can always acquire those to exhibit them. But, these are the ones that were actually banned are the ones that were actually imported in the greatest number, and so they're trying to stop that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being part of my interview. And
You
have
bet,
a
absolutely.
great day
Our
at the
pleasure.
show. Yeah.